The evening sun cast long shadows across the rustic cabin nestled within the woods. Inside, the atmosphere was far from tranquil. A family of four, the Andersons, found themselves embroiled in a heated argument that would change the course of their lives. Sarah Anderson, a passionate wildlife advocate, stood her ground, her voice quivering with emotion. "We can't just ignore the signs, Tom. There's a lone wolf out there, and it needs our help." Tom, her husband, leaned against the kitchen counter, his brow furrowed in frustration. "Sarah, you're overreacting. Wolves are wild animals, and we can't interfere with nature like that. It's dangerous." Their two children, Jake and Lily, watched the exchange with a mix of curiosity and worry. Jake, the older of the two, couldn't help but side with his mother. "Mom's right, Dad. We've seen the signs of that lone wolf for weeks. It looks injured, and we can't just turn our backs on it." Lily, the quieter of the siblings, nodded in agreement. She had always been sensitive to the plight of animals and felt a deep empathy for the lone wolf. The argument raged on, voices rising and emotions intensifying. The family's love for nature and their differences in approach collided, creating a storm within the walls of their cozy cabin. Little did they know that this disagreement would set them on a path filled with challenges, discoveries, and a bond with a lone wolf that would forever alter their lives. The following morning, as the first light filtered through the forest canopy, Tom was the first to rise. He couldn't deny the concern in his family's eyes, especially Jake and Lily's. He knew they were compassionate souls, just like their mother, and that ignoring the wolf's plight might cause more heartache than taking action. With a sigh, he gathered the family around the worn wooden table. "All right," he began. "I've been thinking about this all night. If we're going to help this wolf, we need a plan, not just good intentions." Sarah's eyes brightened with hope, while Jake and Lily exchanged relieved glances. Tom continued, "We'll need to contact wildlife experts and organizations. We can't handle a wild animal ourselves. It's dangerous and, honestly, beyond our expertise." His wife nodded in agreement. "You're right, Tom. I'll start making calls and see if we can find someone who can safely assess and, if necessary, help the wolf." Jake and Lily were thrilled with their parents' decision. They had hoped for a chance to make a real difference for the lone wolf. Over the next few days, Sarah reached out to wildlife conservation groups and experts. They discovered that the lone wolf had indeed been spotted by others in the area, and there were growing concerns about its health. An experienced wildlife biologist named Dr. Turner agreed to visit their cabin to assess the situation. Dr. Turner arrived a week later, equipped with tranquilizer darts and a tranquilizer gun. With the Andersons' guidance, they set off into the forest to locate the wolf. The tension in the air was palpable as they ventured deeper into the wilderness, each step bringing them closer to the unknown. Part of the family feared the worst for the wolf, while the other part held on to hope that they could make a difference. As they ventured further into the wilderness, Dr. Turner suddenly held up a hand, signaling for silence. His keen eyes had caught a glimpse of something moving among the trees. The family froze, their breaths held in unison. There, partially hidden behind a thicket, was the lone wolf. It stood motionless, its fur matted and dirty, its eyes reflecting a mixture of fear and curiosity. Dr. Turner, an experienced biologist, assessed the situation. "It's clear that the wolf is injured," he whispered to the Andersons. "We need to approach cautiously, and I'll attempt to tranquilize it to examine its injuries." Sarah nodded, her heart aching for the suffering creature. With practiced precision, Dr. Turner prepared the tranquilizer dart. He took a deep breath, raised the tranquilizer gun, and took a shot. The dart struck the wolf, and it staggered, its eyes growing heavy. In a matter of moments, it lay on the forest floor, unconscious but breathing steadily. Working together, the family and Dr. Turner carefully examined the wolf's injuries. They discovered a deep gash on one of its hind legs, likely from a tussle with another animal. The wolf was malnourished, and its wounds had become infected. Dr. Turner administered antibiotics and cleaned the wounds while the Andersons watched, their hearts heavy with empathy for the suffering creature. Over the next few weeks, they nursed the wolf back to health. Jake and Lily, who had initially feared the wolf, grew attached to it, naming it Luna due to its silvery gray coat. As Luna's strength returned, a deep bond formed between the wolf and the Andersons. They marveled at her resilience and began to understand the true spirit of the wild. But their journey was far from over. Luna's release back into the wild was imminent, and they knew they had to prepare her for a return to her natural habitat. Dr. Turner had informed them that Luna needed to be reintroduced to the wild as soon as possible. The family understood the importance of this step, but it filled them with a mix of hope and sadness. The day of Luna's release arrived. The Andersons drove deep into the wilderness, far from their cabin, to find a suitable location. As they approached the chosen spot, their excitement mingled with anxiety and sadness. They had grown attached to Luna, and the thought of saying goodbye weighed heavily on them. They released Luna into the wild, her silver-gray form disappearing into the forest. They watched her go, their hearts heavy with the uncertainty of her future. Days turned into weeks, and the Andersons continued their life in the cabin. Sarah couldn't help but feel a void without Luna's presence, and Jake and Lily missed their newfound friend dearly. One sunny afternoon, Jake and Lily decided to go for a walk, just as they often did. But this time, they got carried away by their explorations, the thrill of the forest pulling them further in than usual. They were so engrossed in the wonders of the forest that they didn't notice the subtle shift in the atmosphere, a growing tension in the air. Suddenly, out of the dense underbrush, a large and menacing wolf charged toward them, its eyes filled with aggression and hunger. Fear gripped Jake and Lily as they froze, their hearts pounding with terror. They were alone, and their parents, the Andersons, were not there to protect them. But before the ferocious wolf could reach them, a silver blur leaped from the shadows. It was Luna, their wolf friend, who had returned to the place she had once called home. With a fierce growl, Luna intercepted the attacking wolf, engaging in a fierce battle to protect Jake and Lily. The siblings watched in awe and relief as Luna's courage and strength came to their rescue. They were scared, but Luna's bravery gave them hope. After a fierce struggle, Luna emerged victorious, and the hostile wolf retreated, defeated. Jake and Lily, still trembling with fear, approached Luna with a mixture of gratitude and awe. They knew that Luna had saved their lives. When Tom and Sarah saw their children walking back to the cabin with Luna, they were initially shocked and worried. They couldn't believe their eyes. Tom's annoyance welled up as he realized that Jake and Lily had risked their lives by venturing too far into the woods. He scolded them for their recklessness, his voice filled with concern. But as Jake and Lily recounted the terrifying encounter and Luna's heroic intervention, Tom and Sarah's annoyance turned to relief and gratitude. They hugged their children tightly, realizing the immense danger they had faced. Tears welled up in Sarah's eyes as she marveled at the bond their family had with this remarkable wolf. Tom, though still concerned for his children's safety, couldn't deny the incredible connection Luna had with their family. With Luna's return to their lives, the Andersons found themselves facing a dilemma. Tom was concerned about Luna's wild nature, believing she would be better off deep in the wilderness, living as a wild wolf once again. He proposed the idea of taking Luna back into the woods, even deeper than before. Sarah shared Tom's concerns about Luna's wild instincts. However, she also understood the profound connection she had formed with their children. The thought of parting with Luna once more filled her with sadness, but she knew that Luna's wild spirit needed to be honored. It was during the family discussion, sitting around the fireplace, that Jake and Lily spoke up. Their voices were filled with determination as they pleaded with their parents not to take Luna away. They recounted their experiences, the lessons they had learned from Luna, and the deep bond they had formed with her. Sarah, moved by her children's heartfelt plea, suggested an alternative. What if we create a space for Luna where she can have access to the wild, but also be close to us? She proposed. We can build an enclosure that mimics her natural habitat. Luna can come and go as she pleases, and we'll continue to respect her boundaries. Tom considered this idea, recognizing the importance of Luna's presence in their lives. After a thoughtful silence, he nodded in agreement. Let's give it a try, he said, but we need to be cautious and patient. Luna's still a wild animal, and we can't forget that. The family worked together to design and build the enclosure, keeping Luna's well-being as the top priority. It featured dense vegetation, a small pond, and a cozy den where she could rest. They consulted with experts to ensure it met Luna's needs and allowed her to maintain her wilderness skills. The Andersons understood that they needed to approach Luna with care and respect. They practiced patience and restraint, never running up to her or imposing themselves upon her. Instead, they learned to let Luna take the lead, allowing her to come to them on her terms. If you enjoyed this story, then I know you will enjoy the story about a family on an African safari, where a little girl's life hangs in the balance. It's another beautiful, heartwarming story. Until next time, bye for now.